Overall thoughts in regards to season 1, episode 7 of Invincible is that they need to change this show, the name of this show, to Incredible. Because that's what this shit is at this point. It's simply incredible. Um, it's doing things that I really enjoy, but not just in a superficial way. I think that what the boys wanted to be, as far as a television show, is what Invincible actually is as a television show. I think the idea of the animation allows Invincible to expand the concept of that boy style of storytelling, the evil superheroes and the realism behind the superheroes, which the boys tried to capture with live action. Somehow Invincible was able to still capture that while still expanding on the action. The action of Invincible is top notch. I mean, it's some of the best animation out there as far as animated action. The storytelling, everybody feels very personable. All of the characters, I mean, there's not even really a lot of stereotypical characters in this show. Believe it or not, well, there's one, and we'll talk about her motherfucking ass tonight. There is one. She's a bit stereotypical, and we're going to talk about why. But other than her, I think that all the characters are very fresh. In relations to their powers and then their backstories. They have very, very human stories or human emotions. So for those who do not know, I am the Black Guru. What I offer is sage wisdom. I mean, hell. Shit, let's talk Invincible. Let's talk a little Invincible. Now, we open up the episode here in which they actually open up the episode with Eve kind of waking up, scratching her ass, passing gas, getting out of bed. She makes her a cup of coffee. She's just living the life out there. So I'm like, okay. Wasn't it, this, I think I was making some food when that happened. I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever, Eve, get your ass up. But then we get into the meat and potatoes of what we've been waiting for all season, in which Omni-Man's wife basically confronts him about that bloody cape. And she basically says, what's going on, bro? She confronted him on last week, but this was like the real confrontation. Like they really went at it back and forth about what he did. And when she asked him why, she was like, wait a second, you told me, you've been wanting to tell me for months, but look at you right now. You're not even telling me what happened right now. And he was stuttering, where's Mark? We're looking for his son. She like, look, nigga, get the fuck out of my house. She said, get the fuck out of my house, bro. And what make it so funny, he flew through the fucking roof, so he tore up the roof, flying out. He was pissed. He didn't want it to come to this at all. What up, big baby? Specialty, Toxic, Brad, Jess. I'm glad I found you tonight. Haven't figured out how to work Discord. We're going to open up the Discord in a minute, possibly. So we get a little bit further down the trough. And truth be told, this is the character for me tonight that I have a problem with. And I hate to have a problem with the black character. What up, Butch? I hate to have a problem with the black character, but she, they did her a grave disservice tonight, in which they basically killed off her character. And what I mean by that is they made her sense and sensibilities completely irrelevant. So for the entire season, she's been dating the superhero Invincible. She's been dating Mark, actually. And when Mark, has to go and save the world and has to go fly out and things like that, she would be mad at him. Rightfully so, right? He missed the meeting with the mom. He missed the time at the shelter to come help with the kids. And she said, you know what? I keep putting up with this shit. I don't want to put up with this shit no more. What's going on with you, Mark? You know what I mean? You don't give a fuck about me and shit. So after they get back from the trip, the college trip, He basically flies into her room and he tells her, "Hey, I'm invincible. It's me. That's why I've been gone, because I've had to, fight crime and aliens and all this other shit. So that's why I haven't been able to be around as much." Do you know she said, "I figured that out already? I knew that already." I said, "What the fuck? You knew?" I said, "You knew that already?" And she was like, "Yeah, but it just means you don't trust me." And I'm like, whoa. I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. If you already knew that the whole time, if you figured out he was invincible the whole time, how could you be upset at him based off the events of last week's episode? Now, remember last week's episode, they were on that college tour and they were attacked on the college campus. And Mark here was there as Mark. He kind of crept around the corner, became invincible, came back around the corner and saved everybody. And she had a fucking attitude. When he turned back to invincible, he comes back around the corner, as Mark. And she's like, "Where did you go? You ran away." She literally said that last week's episode. "You ran away. You didn't help us." Or some shit like that. He's like, "Whoa, I had to, She was like, "Oh, I'm so sick of this. Oh my God." And she walks away. Well, damn, if you knew he was invincible, what the fuck does that doesn't even make sense. That's illogical. I mean, that's how bad. What's up, Domo? That's how bad this fucking scene was. I don't blame her as a character, but I do blame some of this stereotypical womanism writing that they do. Y'all have heard me mention the fallacy of this writing before. It's this idea that sometimes female characters can never be fucking vulnerable. They can never be, suffer their own ignorance or anything like that. I think this scene works a lot better, or this whole dynamic works better if she's constantly asking Invincible, "Hey, do you have anything you want to tell me? Is there something going on that I need to know? Hey, is there anything out there I can help you with since you wasn't here?" If she knew that he was a superhero the whole time and was trying to get him to tell her that, and he would never tell her, then I can understand her being mad. Because it's like, hey, like she said, "Hey, you don't trust me. That's why you won't tell me, and I'm sick of that." I could understand that. But she's mad at him for missing dates and not being around and skimping out. Well, you know why he's not there. It's because he's saving the world. So they really killed this relationship on tonight. I was enjoying it for a little bit, and I mean, killed it in a mismanaged way. It was just mismanaged. And now Amber's character is pretty much useless at this point. The only positive thing I can see for Amber is her essentially becoming a villain of sorts and antagonizing Mark moving forward in some serious way. So she becomes a bit of an antagonist to Mark and Eve, if you will, because I think that's where Mark is going next, to probably be with Eve. And so that's where I can see her going. But other than that, I can't see these two being together anymore. That's done for me. I just can't buy it. So that's, and I alluded to this earlier, that's the only thing about this show that I feel is stereotypical, is the things that they did with Amber in tonight's episode. But we get a little bit further down the trough. We get a little bit of the reveal about what was the whole plan in regards to the clone twins and the robots. And we understand that what you're seeing here, this hideous monster inside of this pod, is the actual robot. And he has a neuro link to all of these physical robots to do all of his fighting and things from there. So they essentially, the plan was they essentially built him a body. They built a body for the hideous creature, and he's going to basically clone his consciousness into this new body using these two blue guys as technology. So, we get a little bit of this, and we'll come back to this later. This episode was absolutely fucking amazing. But, we get your girl down at the headquarters, and she's basically, they're basically trying to stop Omni-Man. This episode ends so fucking phenomenal. They're basically trying to stop Omni-Man from finding Mark. They want to find Mark first. because they said, hey, they were asking, well, how do we stop Omni-Man? And they're like, well, shit, we really don't know how to stop him. The only person we think could stop him is his fucking son. That's the only person about strong enough. So, the scenes kind of jump around here. We get the clone transfer here. Something about these scenes really made me like those two blue guys. I really appreciate them. There's something about those two guys being the first characters we meet and them having such significance this late in the season. So they were kind of, the first superpower characters we met were those two. And they've kind of become endearing to me a little bit, especially with their brute strength, and their combination of that and their intellect makes them a formidable opponent. So we get some stuff here about the transfer of the clone and stuff. It didn't really do anything for me, but it was entertaining to watch. This whole scene with them kind of battling back and forth was marginally entertaining. What's up, Wes? Marginally entertaining, nothing to write home about. But this is when shit really hits the fan. This is when things get great. What up, Charmaine? Omni-Man comes to his house, full costume, looking for his son. He notices that these invisible motherfuckers are all in his house. So he starts running up and starts killing their ass. And I mean in some of the most brutal fucking ways. He's smashing fucking brains. He's slicing people in half. I mean, he just becomes a fucking beast in his own home. The fact that the home was destroyed is a bit symbolic that the relationship of the family is gone now. So what he tried to protect is no more. So he's blashing and dashing, and this motherfucker said, you know what, I'm hauling ass. I'm gonna haul my ass. I'm out of here. I'm not fucking with Omni-Man right now. To draw a quick comparison to the boys did a similar scene like this with your boy. The fuck, his name escapes me at this moment. But they did a similar scene where he was in the house fighting agents and killing all the agents. This scene was 10 times better than that. Homelander, thank you. So they did a similar scene with Homelander, and this was, going apples to apples shit. It was apples to oranges. You cannot compare these two scenes. Like, this shit here was amazing. The Homelander shit was good. It was good. But this was fucking amazing. So he comes outside, and then the guy reaches across the street as if he's reaching for some help. Omni-Man notices that, hell, these motherfuckers been spying on me from across the street. So he walks in, and he's like, bossing up and getting on everybody's ass. And then they fight a little bit, and then they do this shit right here. Omni-Man grabs old boy's spine. He grabs his fucking spine, basically his kidneys from behind, and start crushing his shit. I've never seen that before. I've never seen somebody grab a motherfucker's spine and kidneys from behind and start crushing them. Do you know how painful that has to be? Do you know how absolutely painful that has to be? Oh, I felt that shit. I felt it when I watched it. So then they essentially decide to, they had the house infused with explosives, and they blow up the whole fucking house. They blow up the house. And they said, well, maybe that may knock Omni-Man down for a little bit. It didn't put a scratch on Omni-Man. It did not put a scratch on his ass. So now they're worried about what to do. And I like my guy here. I forget his name. His name escapes me. But I like the guy with the red tie. I like him. I like his character. His character seems interesting. He has a great moment later in the episode. I mean, this episode, there's so much going on. Cecil, yeah, I love fucking Cecil. I love Cecil. I absolutely love Cecil. Omni-Man pulls up on Mark's gay friend, and he's like, hey, where's Mark? And he was like, I don't know, he lost his phone. Where like, he was so fucking threatening. It was just crazy. Like, he didn't give a fuck. Like, it didn't seem like he was gonna kill his friend, but if the friend would have got a little sassy like he been all episode, Bush, this scene was crazy intense, bro. That's the best way to put it. It was crazy intense. You didn't really think he was gonna kill him, but it just showed how serious Omni-Man was. Like, Omni-Man is not playing right now. So then we get some more of the banter about what's going on here. This scene was significant because, Robot finally walks in and introduces himself in this new physical form. And he actually made himself look like the Gambit Flame dude. And he was like, the reason he did that is because Monster Girl found him attractive. So he's had the hots for Monster Girl this whole time. And he's been building himself to where he can make himself, available to Monster Girl. And since he was a teen, he made himself a teen because Monster Girl was so young. So they were kind of similar in that way. It wasn't really doing it for me. I didn't like the little shit Monster Girl said in response when she's all like, "You lied and you did all of this. It's gonna take me some time to deal with this." I'm like, oh brother, why do I even write little shit in like that? Like that shit, I just it's not giving. So we get a little bit of more Cecil. This was a fire ass fucking scene, no pun intended. They basically was like, hey, drop the fucking laser on his ass. So as Omni-Man is flying, they got a laser beam tracking his ass from space, and they hit his ass with a motherfucking laser beam, and they light his motherfucking ass up. They light his motherfucking ass up with a laser beam from space, y'all. A laser beam from fucking space. And it doesn't leave a scratch. It doesn't even leave a scratch. Omni-Man flies up to space and completely destroys the machine. And they said all that for a busted lip. It was a Thanos scene. All that for a drop of blood. They literally took the Infinity War line and said all that for a drop of blood. He said $400 billion of high-tech technology for a drop of blood. Omni-Man something else. Omni-Man probably one of the strongest motherfuckers I've ever seen. So, now they worry. Now they pull out the big guns, and now they know things are getting a little tense. Ass cheeks are getting tight. This is a little bit more of the conversation I alluded to earlier when Monster Girl did that line that it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I'm going to have to think about this a little bit. I don't know. She just didn't seem like that type of character. It's like, it's just this, I don't know. Does nothing for me. But there was an important line here that they were about to go help Omni-Man at one point. They were like, yeah, we should get out there and help Omni-Man. Cecil comes on the big screen in front of you, and he's basically like, hey, y'all stay put until I call y'all. Y'all the last line of defense against Omni-Man. And they look at each other. They said, last line of defense against Omni-Man? He said, shit, we seen what happened to the last line of defense. He killed all of their ass. That's what got us here in the first place. Great line. I love that moment. Great line. So then Cecil shows up with the glizzy, with the Glock, and, had a conversation with Omni-Man. Basically said, you fucked up and your family is not on your side no more. You out of order. He's teleporting around. Thought this was really cool scene. Kind of Cecil face up against Omni-Man. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Then they pulled out the robots from last week's episode. They went and kind of made their own little robots from last week's episode. And the robots was pretty much getting at Omni-Man. They were at least slowing him down a little bit. So those robots are a lot stronger than we gave them credit for in last week's episode. But like always, Omni-Man tears them apart like it's not nothing for him. So the blue clone guys, they go back and dig up the Immortal and they put the Immortal back together. He's the Immortal soul. He can't die. So they put him back together and see if that resuscitates him. Spoiler alert, it ultimately works. Omni-Man fights this thing here that has been modified to be stronger than it was earlier in the season when he fought it the first time. So he's struggling with it a lot. Here's that last scene moment I was just talking about. But now let's just get down to brass tacks here. Your boy flies out. He wants revenge. Invincible shows up to help his dad. They do the team up. He shows up to help his dad, and him and his dad go up against this little freaky looking monster tentacle thing. They go at it, and then your boy Immortal shows up, and then the Immortal and Omni-Man have an epic fight. Their fight was fucking epic. Immortal was mad because he killed him earlier in the season, and Omni-Man told him when he showed up in this episode here, you should have stayed dead, motherfucker. You should have stayed dead. So now everybody's watching this, though. The world is watching Omni-Man fight Immortal. And from the world's perspective, these two are supposed to be on the same side. So this is the first time they're seeing Omni-Man actually, fight somebody else. Like, kind of be a bad guy. And they're fighting, and the death scene here was so fucking amazing. It was so fucking amazing. I gotta play a little bit of this. The Immortal was getting a little bit of a heads up on him. Omni-Man is clearly way stronger than him. And then we get this moment here where your boy Immortal picks up a punch. This is the moment here. This was so fucking dope. This whole battle was fucking dope. I loved it. He flies up. He blocks the punch. Look, he blocks the punch. And he punches smooth through his fucking ass, y'all. Look at that there. He punched smooth through his ass. He punched smooth through his motherfucking ass, dog. The whole world watched it. I love her reaction though. She got me with this reaction here. She jumped back like, nigga. I loved her reaction. She's like, what the fuck? He punched smooth through him. Oh my God. And then everybody's like, whoa, like, and now she want to grab the robot's hand. I thought she need time to think about it. That's why I didn't like that line. I told y'all. But anyway, he punched smooth through him. And he gouges his eyes. This is beautiful, though. This is beautiful what they do with this. He gouges his eyes, and then he just slices his ass in half, bruh. He slices his motherfucking ass in half, bruh. And everybody's seen it. Invincible seen it. Now they know he's the one who killed the Guardians at the beginning. And then the eyes being bulged out changes the look of Omni-Man. Now his eyes are all red. And he just doesn't look like dad anymore. You see how beautiful the fact that he gouged his eyes out kind of changes the character. Now he has these red eyes and, blood all over his hands. He doesn't look like himself. And then he finished the episode at the end with what was said in the title, We Need to Talk. Oh my God. I'm telling you guys, Invincible, bro. This shit right here, y'all. Mwah. That's all I can say about it. Mwah. I cannot wait until next week's episode. I can't wait till next week's episode. I can't wait till next week's finale. I don't want no cliffhangers though. I really need an hour and a half of show next week. We just focused the whole hour on what's going on with Omni-Man and what caused him to do what we seen at the beginning of season 1. But the way this show is written, I mean, I'm invested. Only 8 episodes in. I got to give it to Robert Kirkman again. He did it again in 8 episodes. He did it with The Walking Dead. He got me invested in about 8 episodes. He did it again with Invincible. 8 episodes in, I'm fucking hooked. He knows how to hook your motherfucking ass with some story. And he did it again, and he made all these characters very, very grounded in their realities. You gonna read the comics? I don't think I'm gonna read the comics. I'll probably stick with the show a little bit, but because the fights are so much better live action like this. So yeah, this week's Invincible was incredible. I like how they did the gag this week, the Invincible title gag, where they kind of pump faked it at the door and then came back with it. When Cecil said Mark is the only one that can beat Omni-Man, where is Mark, where is Invincible, and they do the gag. I loved it this week. You would think that gag would get old, but somehow they keep it a little fresh. They'll hold it out for like damn near half the episode, which I like that too. So you might not get the Invincible title gag until damn near the end of the episode. Like it don't matter. So I love that. Very creative. It's just I appreciate this show, man. It's definitely probably one of my favorite shows at the moment. Probably is my favorite show at the moment. So after next week's episode, we're going to see why Omni-Man decided to do what he did. And, does he have any reasonable justification for it? And if so, what is it? So that's what we're anticipating on next week's episode. For those who do not know, I am the Black Guru. What I offer is sage wisdom. Follow the Black Guru if you don't already. Here live on Twitch or on YouTube once this has been reposted to YouTube. And I'll catch you guys on next week.